Good morning. I'm Cindy Fallon.
And I'm Chris Nordvik, and this is WSVC This Morning.
In Graceland, Tennessee, late last night, 5 grave robbers attempted to steal the coffin containing the body of Elvis Presley. Police chased the bandits on foot while the grave robbers were carrying the coffin of the King of Rock and Roll. When the police finally apprehended the grave robbers, the coffin had already been opened to reveal an empty casket. The police don't see how there was enough time to move the body out of the coffin even with outside assistance. Once the grave robbers were finally caught, police concluded that the body of Elvis must not have been buried in Graceland. The entire Tennessee police force is conducting an extensive search for the body, with the only leads being that of the grave robbers and the cemetery of Elvis's burial. In conjunction with late last night's occurrence, the question is Elvis alive? Has Americans and the world crying out for answers?
On February 14th, Dean Scotwell was falsely arrested for raping a Greensburg woman. For Dean, the nightmare began when he went to the ground round by the Westmoreland County Mall. There, Shirley Johnson identified him as the man who had raped her a month before. Later that day, Mr. Scotwell was arrested at his home near St. Vincent's College in Latrobe. But Dean cooperated with police, and soon the real rapist confessed, 44-year-old Sam Howard of Dormont, PA. Shirley Johnson later recanted, claiming a case of mistaken identity. Dean said he would not sue police for false arrest, as his lawyers said that he could not possibly win, as the police had acted in good faith to an eyewitness testimony by Miss Shirley Johnson. Mr. Howard confessed in connection with another crime. Police, looking for stolen lawn furniture, found pictures of Shirley Johnson plastered all over Mr. Howard's wall in his bedroom. Howard later confessed his guilt to police.
In the local news, the shack located across from the cafeteria was held up and robbed this afternoon, and the mysterious unknown suspect is still at large. Matt Oxenrider is there with our live action camera with an update.
I'm standing here at the shack and just finished talking with campus security. They feel that with the cooperation of the administration, they will apprehend the suspects. The cashier thinks they were St. Vincent students because they wore school soccer jackets. The administration and athletic director were unavailable for comment. Reporting live from the shack, this is Matt Oxenrider.
If anyone has any information about the holdup, please contact your local security officer for possible apprehension and prosecution of the subjects. It should be noted that any form of delinquent behavior on or off of the campus is unethical and will not be tolerated. Please see the student handbook for school rules and regulations. When apprehended, the suspects will be prosecuted at the fullest extent and expelled from school.
In Boston, what's new and exciting these days is a radio station which claims to understand what life's like for modern-day working women. That station is WROR.
This is Mike Gibberl at WROR Radio in Boston, Massachusetts, where I'm here with Laura Smith. Laura, can you tell us how your broadcasting has been targeting working women?
And then, as our listeners, we set out to give them more of what they told us that they wanted. So all of our call-in contests are based on giveaways of over $500,000 of time-saving prizes. Listeners, we've set out to give them free time, which is what they wanted. So all of our call-in contests are based on just that, giveaways of time-saving prizes.
This is Mike Gibberl at WROR Radio Station in Boston, Massachusetts, where I'm with station manager Laura Smith.
Smith states that the response has been phenomenal. The station's ratings among working women has shot up from 5th place all the way up to 1st place.
And that's WSVC Action News for a Tuesday morning. Join us again for our next news at 6 p.m.
Hello and welcome to Channel 30 News. My name is Glenn Heller and this is Joe Charlebois. According to a civil liberties advocate, homeless shelters, which were once intended to be a transition to permanent housing, have become a dead end for the homeless and should be eliminated. This was just one of the arguments brought up at a conference on the homeless held recently in Pittsburgh. Norman Siegel, executive director of the New York Civil Liberties Union, stated that permanent housing is a fundamental human right that government has an obligation to provide. The day-long conference was sponsored by the Allegheny County Mental Health, Mental Retardation, Drug and Alcohol Program. Some of those represented included individuals who were at one time homeless, consultants on the homeless for Allegheny County, and the deputy director of Pittsburgh's Public Safety Department. The participants discussed issues of concern to the homeless, including housing, employment, and legal aid. Joe?
According to the New York Times, 12 European countries convened in London, England, to discuss the elimination of all production and use of chemicals that are slowly depleting the ozone layer. The ozone layer is a thin layer that surrounds the Earth's surface and protects it from ultraviolet rays. C. William Raleigh, the spokesman for the committee, said that the 12 countries are willing to reduce harmful chemicals such as chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs, by as much as 85%. The common market nations produce 35 to 37% of the world's CFCs. The United States comes in second, producing 30 to 34% of the CFCs, according to the research done by the World Resource Institute. The environmental group Greenpeace said even if all countries stop producing the CFCs immediately, the atmosphere will not regain its 1985 level until the year 2050. We'll be right back after a message from St. Vincent Campus Ministry.
Hello, my name is Father Matt Oxenrider, speaking on behalf of the St. Vincent College Campus Ministry. Lent is a time to reflect. Lent is a time to move into a new spiritual outlook. Please feel free to take advantage of our daily masses. Monday through Friday at noon in the crypt, Saturday at 1 in the crypt, and our regular Sunday schedule for both the Basilica and the crypt. Thank you.
Welcome back. In health capsules, circumcisions are on the rise. Pediatricians in the United States announced a new policy on circumcision. The new procedure offers potential medical benefits. Although circumcision is used on 70% of American male newborns, the American Academy of Pediatrics has deemed it medically unnecessary for the past 18 years. This may soon change. New studies have revealed that uncircumcised newborns are more than 10 times likely to get urinary tract infections. It has also been learned that virtually all of the 1 in 100,000 men who get cancer of the penis are uncircumcised. Doctors admit that there is strong evidence that the surgery is painful and that local anesthesia may not be totally safe. But complications in the surgery are very rare. Circumcision or no circumcision, at this point, it seems to be the decision of the parents considering the advantages and the risks. We'll be right back after this.
Today's student is faced with an even greater challenge than just his studies. Alcoholism is becoming an alarming problem in our schools. Our students must make a choice. Help them make the right one. And now we're back with music news. The Fine Young Cannibals are now in the United States hitting harder than ever with the new release of their second album, The Raw and the Cooked. The Fine Young Cannibals have a strong foothold on the American audience. The band relies heavily on synthesizers and the extraordinary singing voice of Roland Gift. The album is dance-oriented and is an excellent follow-up to the self-titled album released 3 years ago. The trio is from Birmingham, England, and already they have a hit single off their album, She Drives Me Crazy. It's quickly climbing both the Billboard and the Cashbox charts, and as hard as it gets, another single allows for Gift's incredible range to shine. On a scale of from 1 to 10, The Raw and the Cooked rates an 8. This has been the Channel 30 News with Glenn Heller and myself, Joe Charleboy. Good night.
When she's